friends, I'm Victoria from the Academy of Conscious Creators, and I want to welcome you to the Academy's first virtual Freedom Summit, featuring inspiring stories of greatness, empowerment, and wisdom. It is said that when you die, your consciousness travels towards a brilliant body of light. You feel no pain, only bliss, and you transcend all time and space. How do we know this? From people that have spoken of a near-death experience. Now, NDEs are experienced at the moment of imminent or anticipated death. They are triggered by situations such as an accident, a life-threatening illness, an attempt on your own life, or operations, or even during birth. And near-death experiencers are quite often clinically dead, with some having reported being aware of making a conscious choice or being forced back into the body. But what if you don't have to nearly die in order to experience bliss? To tell us more is my guest, Liane Lopes. Liane is a Manifest and Ascension Coach and describes herself as an ever-evolving human who is obsessed with pushing the boundaries of what it means to be human. The inception of this quest started in her late 20s when she had an out-of-body experience after being hit by a double-decker bus whilst walking the streets of London. Plagued with questions like, why am I here? Why did I not die? And what's next? Her NDE was the catalyst of her personal spiritual journey. Liane, welcome.
Thank you, Victoria. It's a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Well, let's jump straight into that. No messing around here. I mean, what a profound and miraculous event, and a real story of kind of survival against the odds, right? So I'd love to know, what can you remember from that day, if you want to share a little bit, and then what did happen next?
Well, I'd like to start off by saying thank you for having me. And yes, that experience was the catalyst for my journey from where I am today. But I must say I truly believe now more than ever, there are no such thing as coincidences. That experience really is dear to my heart. I should have died. Once they did the scans on my the MRI, it showed that where I was severed in the back of my skull. I should have been dead. And so basically what happened was I was walking the streets of London. I looked the wrong way. Being a Canadian, I looked the opposite way, and then the bus hit me. And I just remember being overhead of my body, and I could see the bus driver sitting on the steps, holding his head, very distraught, upset. And everything was happening so instantaneously. And I did feel that bliss. I felt that a love that can't be described. And if there's any takeaway from this, it's that it started to have me question of why are we dying? And why are we being born? And you start looking at energy. At least that's where I'm at right now in this period of my life. But back then, sorry, I'm kind of jumping back and forth. This is what I do, no time and space. But back then, it was the wake-up call. So I got hit. I used to always be afraid of dying. Here I am. I don't know whether I'm dead or alive. All I know is I feel this immense amount of love, and I'm just curious about what's happening. And then I woke up in my hospital bed, and I had these doctors looking at me, looking at my vitals and my charts. And I walked out of there a few days later. And
Wow.
The only thing that really I had a headache, and I lost a patch of hair on the back of my head, but otherwise, yeah, it was very miraculous.
Yeah, extraordinary. Yeah, so well, amazing story. I'm glad you obviously made it through. And I'm wondering, like, you have got this beautiful zest for life, and you can already hear and see it coming out of you right now. And I'm wondering, was that something that came out as a result of this NDE experience you had? And then what did you
No.
learn? Okay, go on. Okay.
No, I would say I was just plagued with the questions. And okay, well, that this is what I started to become obsessed with: energy and alchemy. And I used to know intuitively that this stuff existed. I was always an empathic young lady. I knew I was very connected. I could see things and kind of like pushed it aside. But that was when the door opened. Okay, I'm supposed to start exploring this. I didn't die for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
And that just became my obsession. And then it just kind of like one thing led to the next. I was basically looking, okay, what is the point of this life? What's my purpose? Why are we in this world if there's so much hate and so many, like, I at that time I was focusing on the all the bad things that were happening. Now I don't believe there is bad or good. I think that's just the fire that pushes us into our next. And as an evolved human, I think we need that push. But at the time I just didn't understand it. If there is a God, why is God doing this to so many wonderful people? And I'd be overwhelmed with emotion. And then that's when my obsession started. I was just looking for the meaning of life and what it is to be human.
Right. And, most people, I feel, don't question that really, and unless they've had some kind of experience like you have that would perhaps even nudge that. We kind of just come here and accept that, well, this is the way things are, and this is what we do. And, we go through the stages of life, and what we're told is the stages of life, and then we die, right?
Yeah,
So,
you just explained the first and second level of consciousness beautifully, because really first level of consciousness, that's what it is that we're on automatic pilot, and we were born here, we learn all these things, and we're taught what we're taught, and that's how we should be thinking and feeling, and that's what we should be believing, and we don't go beyond that. And then that's when the awakening happens. So yes.
Yes. And that's, well, the second level, as you were saying, is then a bit more like, oh, something's happening here, right?
Yeah, I get to choose. I
Yeah,
don't have to believe what my parents believed.
right. Okay, so then what would you say that you learned from this experience, and how did it then, how did it start transforming your life and sending you more on this journey?
I think what I learned from that was that, okay, I did survive for a reason. And that's when the seeker in me just started to take over. And it was just, I was looking for that joy. I felt an immense amount of love. I knew that energy existed. I experienced it. I felt it. Why aren't we feeling it here? So that's when you start to look outside of yourself, and it's either through relationships or a job. If I just have this, we're become obsessed with a target, an outcome. And but the truth is that I then late flash forward, here I am. I was in my 30s. I thought I had everything I ever wanted. Why aren't I happy? Why didn't I get what I was looking for? And I was still always intrigued by the spirit world and energy, but I still had so many questions, not enough answers, and I'm supposed to be happy and I'm not. And yeah, that's what kind of led me into my next. And that's when I really started to go within instead of looking outside for that joy, that bliss that I would find on occasion. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will know this. You go to a retreat, a yoga retreat, or a seminar, and you come back and you feel wonderful, and your life's going to be different, or but then we spiral back into life because you start to see that everything really is cyclical and we're stuck in this looping cycle. And you start to pay attention then inwards. What are these thoughts that we keep repeating over and over and over? And
Mm.
that's when the magic starts to happen. When you are brave enough to start to look inside and start to recognize those internal signals, those patterns, those words that are on repeat, and
Yeah.
you start to realize, okay, there has to be something more than this. And yeah, and that's the game changer.
Yeah. Oh wow. I love what you shared there. And I think it's proven that, I think as much as 90% of our thoughts that we have every day are not even ours either. So what you were saying earlier is that, we tend to come into this world and we pick up the same beliefs and thoughts and everything that we were trained by our families, and that's as far as we go until we start to have these awakenings.
I
And
love that you just said that 90%. I actually never really thought about that. And it's so true. A lot of it is really subconscious. But if you actually flip it upside down, when you just look at the body, they say that we only use 10% of our body's capability. So it's interesting. We use only 10% of our body's capability, and we're running on 90% of these programs that aren't even ours.
excellent. I love that you made that connection. So, what then could it be like if we don't have to nearly die to experience this level of bliss and love that you have talked about?
100%. I love that you just said that. Like full shivers when you said because that's my quest, that's my journey right now. And if you flip it upside down, and that's literally what I've been doing, if you letting go of all those programs, breaking outside of that altogether, so that 90% now frees up to all the potential of what is, because it's those, if you are really honest with yourself, those programs are low vibing programs, not enough. They're very limiting. If you can move beyond the limitations, you can get to a place of curiosity, joy, and you hold fear doesn't exist there because there are no limitations. But my mantra is now, with all the things that I'm creating in my life, is what am I afraid of? Because I think I'm definitely moving into a place where I'm sitting in a place without fear, and the only thing that I'm afraid of is not trying now.
mm,
Because life is meant to be enjoyed, and I mean that. And if you start to see things as just frequency, if you can break out of the programs and just start to see everything as energy and connect to the things that make you feel lighter,
yeah,
then the density, the heaviness can't live there.
right.
And it's just a matter of training the body and the consciousness to hold these lighter and higher vibrations. And if you do it over and over, that's what we call spiritual discipline. If we do it
Yes.
enough, it becomes our new reality.
Yeah.
So, and you start to flip your mindset. Everything just switches. The one thing I'm afraid of is not trying. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah. And I love that. And what came through as you were saying that is, you are actually, as you're lightening your load, you are living in the light. And, I think, as you were saying, a lot of our biggest fears are, fear of death, fear of not having enough, all of those,
Failure,
yeah, failure.
which
So,
doesn't exist.
well, we have to, yeah, exactly. It doesn't fail because it's just like, oh, I tried that, didn't work, try something new. It's like,
It's a mindset.
right. So would you say that some of these kind of realizations for you happened from that near-death experience? Obviously, you then kind of let go of your fear of death, I imagine.
I let go of my fear of death 100%. I did not let go of my fear of living. That was still the
Ah,
journey, right? So which brought me
right.
to now. So we're looking at 15 years later. And the beautiful thing is now is that we have all these people that have gone through on these journeys and have learned all these things. It's so much better for people who are awakening now because you get to draw from what other people have learned and whatever resonates with you, then let that be your guiding light. And it can be so much more quickly. Like the transformation can happen so much more quickly.
Yeah, and I think that's true because the more the people that have done the work beforehand, you're naturally raising everyone else's consciousness, whether they're aware of it or not. So actually, their journey does become a bit easier.
100%.
So I'm curious, you mentioned earlier as well about these levels of consciousness, and of course, as we are starting to see more people awaken and wake up, I hear lots of stories where people have, I had an awakening. And of course, you have many awakenings, really. It's not just one. So have you got anything that you'd like to share on that and these stages that we work through?
I think you nailed it. There are many awakenings, but the real big one is that first one. I think that's, and I don't even know if you're even aware of it at the time, but it's almost like a toddler who all of a sudden discovers they can say no. and I don't have to agree with the collective, and standing in my sovereignty is my truth, and that is my guiding light. That's the real awakening, where we're not settling anymore and we start to put ourselves first. I think it's really in alignment with that self-love.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I answered that question, but that's what I feel is.
yeah, and I think you did, because of course the first awakening is always chaotic, right? It's uncomfortable, and we kind of paint a picture that, I'm awakening to this greater life, but actually it's a bit messy, really, isn't it?
It is, and you know what I love what you just said there is that it's messy, but it shifts so quickly. So as you raise in consciousness, as you raise in vibration, and you start to see things from a higher perspective, a lighter perspective. So now when things get a little bit icky, I don't necessarily refer to it as icky now, I see it as static. And I get excited now, like, oh, I'm about to level up. This is good. I'm going to start to see things from a higher perspective. So I think if anything, I hope this serves as a guiding light for people that, yes, it's going to feel heavy and dense in the beginning because it's hard to shift perspective. But as you start to really, and that's where you have coaches and there's all these people who've been through this before, because we have an innate knowing. And sometimes all you need to do is hear it from somebody else who can reflect it back to you. And you just know deep down there's some truth there. And it almost gives you permission to, yeah, I can agree with that. And so if anything, I hope that this serves as a beacon of hope for so many, that it doesn't have to be hard. And I really truly believe that this next group of people who are starting to awaken and go about on their ascension journey, it will be lighter and more fun, or at least I'm holding that energy for them.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And what came through was something you said earlier about, starting to awaken and realize that we have a choice. And I know from my own experience, awakening in a family of non-awake people was quite a rough experience, because I certainly came at it as a way of, oh my God, can you not see this? This is going on. And of course, no, they couldn't see. And so I felt like something was up with me. Maybe I didn't quite understand what was happening. And you did mention that it can be uncomfortable, but then on the back of that, realizing that actually when we do feel uncomfortable, it's this growth, we're expanding, we're growing. And of course, every day in life, even though we cling to our familiarities, actually every day is different and changing. We can't predict everything that's going to unfold for us, so we can maybe take some comfort in those, in the discomfort.
Yes, and if there's one thing I've learned, I truly believe that I believe in destiny, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. So you can either look at it from a lighter, higher perspective, or you can look at it from this place of defeatism or victimization. That's where your choice is.
Yeah.
So, but you're going to go through that experience nonetheless. So you choose how you want to see it, and then your whole outer world starts to shift.
Right. Yeah, and it takes time. It's like you said earlier, the spiritual practice. It's not necessarily like one time and then it's all sorted.
Right.
It's a repetitive thing until you create a new pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's explore this then. What would you say to the audience then if they were maybe trying to shift out of something or wanting to manifest something that they really desire? What tips or insights would you like to share that you can offer?
Well, manifesting really is about energy. And so I'm not going to, I would say focus on your energy first and foremost. And because if you're trying to manifest something, the trying is always going to come in your way, because that energy of trying means that you're always chasing after something, and then you'll forever be chasing. So it just doesn't work that way. So I will save you the heartache of going down that path, and really just focus on your energy. And if I was to give some advice as a quick first step, it would be to take that second. First of all, just be aware of those repeated thoughts and start to get brutally honest with yourself. When you look at yourself in the mirror, what are you saying to yourself? What are the thoughts that are going on in your mind when you're driving? Do you ever get some quiet time? If you don't, then start to pay attention. What is that chatter that's on repeat? And then just start to name it as just that. That is just chatter. That is just a broken record over and over and over, and it really isn't you. And as soon as you can start to say that over and over in your mind, that's not me, doors open up. And then at that point, if you can go into your heart and really listen to what your next is, guess what? That's when magic starts to happen. The universe starts to show you your next. And all you have to do is stop the chatter just by claiming it as it is. That's just a program. That's just chatter. You don't have to try. That part doesn't have to be hard. You're just stopping it in its tracks. And then start to get quiet and listen to your heart. And I can guarantee you the intelligence is more intelligent than you could ever imagine, and the doors will open. You'll get invited to the right parties. You will hear the right song. The right person will give you a call on the phone, and you will start to feel lighter, or that perfect parking spot will just present itself. And you start to recognize that the universe really is working in your favor.
Yeah, that is so important because often, and especially if we're looking outside of ourselves, we do see a lot of stuff that doesn't appear to be working in anyone's favor particularly. So bringing it back home is really important. And I love the point about the parking spaces, because I often call in my parking fairies and they always deliver.
Isn't that fun? I love that.
Yeah. So have you got like how do you apply this to your life? Would you like to share anything that
Well, this has become my life. I'm definitely in a place of listen and do. So, as somebody who's obsessed with energy, I do a check-in. So if I am preparing dinner, for instance, I will be aware of how I'm feeling in my body. And then I ask my high self, okay, let's raise my frequency as high as I can in this now moment and see what it's like to do dinner from this place. So I really like to play in the energies, and I really call upon my high self, which is really inside, just to elevate my energy and try and hold it as long as I can. Um, that's how I play, even when I'm brushing my teeth. If I like to listen to a lot of music, that was really helpful for me. If I'm going to give any advice, anybody, if you have that chatter that's going on over and over and over in your head, create the playlist that just makes you feel so happy and play it over and over and over in your mind. I always had like a headset in, and so that becomes the frequencies that are coming in more than those negative thoughts, just to train the body to hold a higher vibration.
Yeah, that's really nice. Great advice. And of course, all the lyrics and the songs that you pick for your playlist are going to have that impact as well.
100%. It's almost like a positive affirmation, and with an accountability partner.
Great idea. Love that. So is there anything that you're working on at the moment that you have got some insight to share on the process?
Well, right now my world is a little bit chaotic in that I'm in the process of I just started a new business, and I'm in the process of moving country, and I'm a single parent, so where I'm at in the moment is really in that listen and do. So I don't try and look at my list and there's no overwhelm. It's just like, okay, this is my next, this is my next, this is my next. I just go about my day doing my next right thing. And if you live in that place, then the overwhelm doesn't come in. And it's a really nice place to be. And when you go to bed, you just, you did your best, and you go to bed doing your best. So it's letting go of the planning and just listening to your next right step. That's where I'm at right now.
That's really helpful. I mean, that's a lot going on for you right now. So if you can hold that, just calm and just taking it step by step. And maybe that's also key there, is that step by step, because often we think, oh, I have to do it all today or in the next hour, and just allowing that process to unfold in its natural
Exactly, because isn't that what life's all about? It is really the journey. And the truth is the past has already happened. The future is in creation, but it's in the now that really matters. So if we're always worrying about getting this list done, guess what? The list is always going to be there. So if you just focus in that now moment, to answer your question, it's bringing that now, that presence,
yes,
into my lists that are forever evolving, because guess we never finish the list, do we? No. We just move on
changes
to the
and
next list, right?
right, yeah, some
Um,
more
so
gets added. Yeah,
it's the journey of life, really, is that list. And starting to hold a lot of gratitude for that, because that's a list of experiences, and I get to choose how I experience every task on that list. And it doesn't have to be a hard, and if it's hard, there's a challenge there, and it's there for a reason, because there's something there for me to learn and grow and push myself and see what my capabilities are. So having this mindset of growth and opportunity and experience and living in the now is a freeing place to be.
yeah, the power of the moment, really, isn't it? Because when you're very present with what you're doing, as well as having your pet playlist, your mind isn't necessarily wandering into the past or the future, or panicking so much, because you're really just staying focused on that thing right there.
Yeah, there's an expression that I heard years ago that I just love. And I guess I'll leave you with this. It is, small hinges swing big doors.
Okay, I've not heard that.
So it's all those little things that are piled one on top of another that create those big end results. And you look back, you're like, wow, I really did accomplish a lot, but it was just living in the now and doing that next right step. And so small hinges.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually little step, day by day, when you look back, actually you've come quite a long way, right?
Exactly. Haven't we all? That's life. And
Yeah.
we don't give ourselves enough credit to take a moment and pause and see how far we've come. And I don't know about you all, but I'm in this lifetime for a reason. I didn't die for a reason, and I'm going to live it to the fullest. And I am here to show what it is to be an advanced human, both physically and consciously. And hopefully I will inspire others to take that leap of faith and push their bodies and their minds to their greatest potential, because life truly is meant to be enjoyed. You do not have to wait to die in order to live.
I love that. So tell us a bit more about your work then, and the type of people that you help.
I help people from all walks of life, and I don't limit it necessarily just to the people that come to me on a work basis. I think truly being a way shower is every encounter that comes along my way is an opportunity to shift the consciousness of the collective. But yes, anybody who's curious about purpose and human potential, tired of being stuck, they're the people who are ready, because they're done with their old way of living and they're ready for their next. And they're the ones that are committed to having that spiritual discipline and are curious and are looking for their next. So anybody who's looking for their next, I love to work with them. I'm doing a Manifest Raising Your Vibration course right now, which is a 10-week course. There'll be another one starting through Activate Evolution in September, I believe, the fall. Nice. And then we had spoken as well that we would do maybe some sort of little workshop to play with people and use imagination and to see what it's like to play with an avatar, because avatars are a really helpful tool to help shift your vibration. So, and then also on my website, Quantum Coach Liane, you can also book a session with me. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And exactly that. So I'm going to put all the details below for everyone to link up to. Great that you've got a course in a few months so people can look out for that. And yeah, and we'll do a little workshop around, and I know from my own experience how that's really helped me to kind of shift out of this identity that was kind of given to me by everyone else, or however you were brought up, or what people told you about yourself, and how to create a new avatar so you can shift out of that limited version of yourself and raise up to a higher version. So
much fun.
Yeah, and with Liane's high zest for life and energy, then I'm sure it's going to be an enjoyable, transformative workshop. So look out for that and do sign up. Great. So did you mention your website?
Yes, I did. Okay. QuantumCoachLiane.com.
There we go. Again, brilliant. All right. So thank you so much for coming today and joining me on this in this conversation. It's been quite an eye-opener, and I love how you're using all these tools that you've learned to transform your life and obviously transform other people's lives day to day in all your interactions. So thank you for being.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was an honor, and it's just an honor to be in the presence of living right now. I've never had more gratitude in my heart than I do right now for being a human and being in this human experience with you all.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a definite amazing time to be alive in the world. So thank you. So I've been speaking with Liane Lopes. She's a Manifest and Ascension Coach, a beacon of light to those who are stuck living in Groundhog Day and want to explore different states of consciousness and live a higher potential. And if you're looking for a platform where you can access support on your journey to personal freedom, come join us. I hope you'll explore, have fun, and connect with others. And you can find out more at wearetac.com. That's wearetac.com, the Academy of Conscious Creators, empowering you to create a new story of your life. Thanks for watching.